You are listening to Offensive Lines with Marlon and Boyd. Small stakes NFL gambling for the average fan.
Welcome to Offensive Lines for Week 10. I'm Marlon.
I'm Boyd.
And we finally hit all our bets last week.
Woohoo!
Cheers. We're still down in the year, but we aim to fix that.
Yeah, it may take us till the playoffs, but we're aiming to fix it. It was a good week last week.
Yeah, it was. In case you've forgotten or anyone has forgotten, we did tease two games on a parlay, Houston and Green Bay. Turns out we didn't need to tease them, but I'm still glad we did. Brian Lindell missed a 37-yard field goal, which would have cost us one end of that.
Well, there's just too many variables in spreads that high. So I like the tease too. It was safer, and and we're in it to make money.
Yeah.
So when we can get an advantage like that, we have to take it, because I didn't think those spreads were even high enough then.
I agree with it, but as you said, there's so many variables. The garbage time touchdown, the Pyrrhic victory touchdown, has crushed me on so many double-digit spreads. And those games weren't really runaways, by the way.
No.
We caught
Denver, and that game I sweated out. That was where I was thinking a garbage time touchdown was going to screw us.
That could happen. Plus, Peyton seems to take one quarter off. Maybe he's getting old. He only works 3 quarters a game.
Well, no, it was just that when they went up 11, it's like if they let him go down and score, which most teams would just eat time off the clock, and they let them get to like the 30. And I'm thinking if they score a touchdown, 2-point conversion, it's a 3-point game and we lose. But thankfully they had to take the field goal first and didn't recover the onside kick.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much it.
And that's the correct decision, because it was fourth and a fair chunk. I mean, if it's 4th and 1 and you're taking that field goal, I think, that's a poor decision. But
yes.
4th and 4 or bigger, I agree. Take the field goal when you can get it.
And what was the other game Tampa. And that game almost came down to like the last 3 minutes.
Well, yeah, you actually texted me, how can we lose this fucking game? We had 18 points.
And then it's the 3.
In the 4th.
And then it's 3.
Yeah.
And then Carson Palmer turned into Carson Palmer and threw a pick 6, so...
I'm still happy with that pick. That one was one I pushed pretty strongly for, and I was glad to see it pay. We are a team, but it was let's say it was you who picked the big spreads with confidence, and I threw that game in.
And I hope somebody made some money on Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that was your best call of the week, really.
Yeah, I took them in the pool to cover the spread. I didn't have the balls to pick them to win, but I was pleased with myself. I don't know. It was just a feeling I had that the Giants there was no insight or like crunching numbers or anything involved. It was just their history of that team with Manning and Coughlin. They tend to play well for 2 or 3 weeks and then lay an egg, and it's usually at home.
Well, the strange thing about the Giants, and I was reading a bit about this, was under Coughlin, they've tended to either have good first halves and bad second halves of seasons, or the reverse. Starting poorly like last year, and then turning it on in the second half of the season. So
we're hoping for that again this year? And then our Cowboys sneak in and steal the division?
It's unlikely, but not impossible.
Well, is it coaching in Dallas that's the problem, or what?
I think it is.
Excuse me. Outside of that Seattle game, they've been could have won those other games. Seattle just pushed them around. That was gross.
When they get behind and they start running a no huddle without Jason Garrett and his computer printouts telling the play calls, that offense is efficient, moves, and scores quickly. I think 95% of the problem there is coaching. Because just watch them when it's too little too late and they just throw the ball into Romo's hands. do the hurry up. He's basically, he's got a short playlist. He's calling them at the line. That team looks awesome.
So, well, how do you fix it?
You get rid of Garrett's ego, and you simplify it, and you put more of it in the hands of Romo. Well, why not? Like, they never run the no huddle until they're terribly behind, though it's so much more efficient from what I've seen than their standard huddle up offense.
So so who's the coach? Who's going to go there and coach? With Jones running the show, you have no say in anything.
Well, you have no say in players in that, but strangely enough, he is fairly supportive, or as supportive of the coach as he can be.
Right. But
so look for a guy who doesn't want total control of the organization. I don't know who that would be.
But not even total control. Like, I think a lot of these coaches don't want total control anymore.
Well, it's never worked for any of them.
Yeah, but who's taking that job high profile? We're not getting Gruden.
No. Though I did hear a rumor that Gruden might go to Philly. It's like, just wait till Norris fired and move to San Diego.
He's not going to San Diego.
Why not?
Because Philly has more talent.
Yeah, but Philly is also Philly. San Diego is San Diego.
Hey, this is a guy that coached in Oakland. He'll go to Philly.
And he likes Cali.
Yeah, he's going. If he goes anywhere, it's Philly.
You can cross the bay and be in San Francisco.
Yeah, but he'll be in Philly. If he goes anywhere, it'll be Philly. Like, when you look around the teams that could be looking for a new coach, who has the best talent? He's not going to. Well, Jacksonville just hired Malarkey. They're not firing him. They might fire their GM, but they're not firing him. San Diego. If they finish 10-6, is Norb fired?
No, but they're not finishing 10-6.
9-7.
I think the best they're going to finish is 8-8, and I don't even think they're going to get there. They're not a good football team.
Yeah, but
two of their wins came against Kansas City. We don't get to play them anymore.
Well, they have the Raiders yet.
Yeah, the Raiders look better than when the Chargers played them the first time. I just keep hoping, but after last year, I can't even get my hopes up for a coach fire.
Well, let's just say the Titans aren't looking strong. Munchak's gone after this year. I don't know what the hell he's doing. Fisher, I cried about it and whined and everything about Fisher and the defensive style of ball they played. Yeah, be careful what you wish for, people. We don't have a defense anymore. It is god awful. No, though it wasn't as bad as 52 implies, because how many short fields, how many points just directly off turnovers by Chicago? No, I know, but Brandon Marshall had 3 touchdowns. Jay Cutler has 12 touchdowns. He got 25% of them. Make a play.
Yeah.
Like, there's times your defense has got to make a game-changing play, too. We're like 31st in the league or something. No, 28th, sorry. And
you're actually on a historic pace.
We're 32nd in scoring defense.
Giving up 34 points a game, again, not all of that on the defense, but you are on pace to be the worst defense in history.
Yeah, well,
in terms of points.
Well, that should be probably, we might as well just mark that one down, because everything I ever see of Oilers/Titans on TV historically is something to kick me in the gut, except for the Music City Miracle. That's it. Every other relevant piece of history on that team is 1 yard short in the Super Bowl. Buffalo, the comeback with Frank Reich. The Mike Renfro catch against the Steelers in an AFC Championship game in the late 70s. Like, it's just, I got one other one. Earl Campbell on Monday night when he's plowing over people. But that's about it.
Yeah, they'll dredge up Tomlinson footage, but that's about all my Chargers have.
No, you got Junior, too.
Yeah, that's true, though. That's pretty bittersweet at this stage to see any Junior footage.
I guess you have a historic loss in the Super Bowl, too.
Absolute stomping. Biggest point spread of history. And
they covered.
Chargers, no, he didn't cover.
No, the Niners covered easily.
Oh, yeah, the Niners covered easily.
I bet that. I won.
Yeah, thanks.
Wow. You
Hey,
knew.
someone might as well. I knew. I thought they could keep it within 3 touchdowns, for God's sake. But,
I'd rather lose like that than I could have just got drunk when the Titans lost, instead of sitting there hoping I was going to get a Super Bowl title in my lifetime. No, just tease me. You know what I did after that? I cleaned my house. Sports guy goes for a walk with his dog. I cleaned the house.
I bet it was sparkling.
And did that after they lost to the Colts this year, too. When you want to punch a wall, go clean something.
So your wife's putting in the fix to make sure the Titans lose.
Yeah, sending
Get
wires.
you involved in the housework. Okay, we should move on to some games.
Yeah, seeing we were so accurate last week.
Yeah.
And we both had weeks in the pool, too, pretty much.
No, I had a terrible week. I was second last.
Oh.
I was great straight up, and yeah, not good against the spread. So
I thought you did better than that.
No,
Oh,
I wish
sorry,
I had.
that wasn't meant to be a dig either, which is odd for me because usually that would have been.
Yeah, I guess we should just mention it's another scintillating Thursday night game.
Well, I got both of those right. First time all season. It only took 10 Thursdays. I got 2 right.
One better than me.
Yeah, like that's going to help me. I'll
But,
just get the first 4 on Sunday wrong.
I saw no more than 5 minutes of game time. These
That
Thursday
might have
night
seen 10.
contests are a waste of my life.
Yeah.
But
Let's make some picks.
all right, the first game on the board is Atlanta favored by 2.5 going into Nolans.
Love this game.
Do you?
Yep.
Really? Because I
Nolans.
wanted to stay away from it.
New Orleans is the worst defense in football. Well, next to the Titans, I think. They're giving up close to 30 a game.
That's true, and it's not like Atlanta. I've been undervaluing Atlanta all year, so maybe you're right. Maybe I should just... Yeah, it's time to step off. But of course, then they'll finally throw in the stinker that I've been expecting from them.
Yeah, but I don't think you can against New Orleans defense. They won't be able to stop the run.
Well, yeah, and I don't know whether Matt Ryan's just figured it out, but the ball's being spread nicely between Roddy and Julio, and with the occasional clutch grab by
Tony.
Yeah, Big Tony. The greatest tight end in history.
I want to keep this one in the mix.
All right, I'm not against that anymore.
New Orleans. How are they only like? They're basically saying that New Orleans is a better team. Well, no, I guess they're not. But usually the home team gets favored by 3. Okay, so it's 5.5. But still, a touchdown when you're, what are they, 2?
No, it's not. It's 2.5.
No, I know, but it's basically you're saying 5.5
Oh, okay.
is a home team's plus or minus
Yeah.
3 to start. So it's a 5.5 point spread in Vegas terms. 2.5. Is that just to get money on Atlanta? Is there still that much money pouring in on New Orleans?
Maybe.
like
I mean,
The money line's plus 120 for New Orleans. Like you'd think, like I'm thinking a 9-0 team playing 2-6. Shouldn't it be like Atlanta on the money line should be like 300 or 400 minus 300? Bet 300 to win 100. It's 140 to win 100 for Atlanta.
yeah,
It's crazy.
you're right. I don't get this number at all.
And
Particularly when you're right. New Orleans defense can't stop anyone, and Atlanta...
well, they did stop Philly.
Atlanta's had hiccups, right? Like the Carolina game. A couple of their wins have been a bit fluky.
Yeah, Oakland.
But they're still a good football team.
Yeah, a lot better than New Orleans.
Yeah, okay. That one's in the mix.
Well, and the Simmons, I listened to Simmons and Cousin Sal today. Home dogs are 2-10 in the last 12 covering. There's another little tidbit. When under home dogs were doing so well at the start of the year,
Well, dogs in general.
it's totally flipped.
Last 2 weeks have been favorite weeks.
Yeah, it's flipped. Well, we're starting to figure out who the good teams are, like legitimate teams.
Yeah, there aren't many, but I think Atlanta, it would be churlish not to acknowledge that they're a good football team at this stage.
So let's keep that one in the mix.
Yeah, I think it's going to get involved. Our next game up is Buffalo, 12-point underdogs going to New England.
I wonder if the weather is going to be a factor in this game with the big storm that's going through the Northeast. I don't know what the forecast looks like for Sunday, but it could be like snow-covered field, crappy weather, cold.
I don't think it's a factor in... It affects both of these teams equally.
Yes.
Unless we wanted to go for the under.
Oh, I don't want to.
I think they're going to keep it on the ground. Like, I want to stay away from this game. That spreads too much. New England's defense is no good.
Yeah, it's just, but like this could be one of those games where you take Buffalo, and then the Patriots get 2 fumble returns for a touchdown.
Oh, it easily could be. There are too many variables. Like, in terms of the weather, I think it's going to affect both teams offensively roughly the same. They both can run the ball, but prefer to pass it. Obviously, Brady is superior to Fitzgerald, but is he 12 points superior in horrific weather conditions? I don't know. Maybe.
Probably, but like
Probably.
pool-wise, I'm probably going to take New England both ways, and cross my fingers that they cover.
Yeah. That defense gives up a lot of points.
Yeah, but Buffalo has C.J. Spiller and Stevie Johnson, and Johnson might not even play again this week. So
That hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I might do that. I'm not going to voice an opinion on this one yet. New England, I think, will win. But the 12 points, I'm staying away for right now.
Yes.
Our next game, Denver are 4.5-point favorites going to Carolina.
Like this game too.
I kind of like this game quite a bit. I was a little surprised at the spread.
Well, here's what I'm looking at. We were just talking about Atlanta and New Orleans. It's 2 points difference, yet Carolina is plus 185 on the money line. And Denver's minus 225. How does that make any sense? I just don't... And I know it's... I don't.
Well,
know
these
what
numbers are determined by where the money is going at this stage. So, but I think you must be right. The Saints gamblers must be just throwing money at the Saints for
They're
whatever.
trying to get people to bet Atlanta.
Yeah.
Which you'd think it would be the other way around. Like, I can't believe... This is like Philly last year, New Orleans, but...
And New Orleans is even missing Sproles.
Yeah.
He's a huge part of that offense.
They're not that good a team.
No.
Beating Philly doesn't impress me.
Oh, God, no.
Beating Tampa doesn't impress me.
That impresses me more than beating Philly, to be honest.
Yes, but they
got lucky. They were lucky to come out of there with a win, by the way.
Yeah.
It wasn't like New Orleans stomped them. And the San Diego game was fixed.
Well, yes.
As we all know. And San Diego's not very good. When you have to fix a game against San Diego, that's really bad. Because you shouldn't have to. You should just be able to go out there and beat San Diego.
And I'm thinking we need to keep our eye on Denver and Indy. The league might be trying to set something up there, too. Just saying.
I think so.
I never thought of it.
They still haven't gotten over their wet dreams of a Manning Super Bowl.
Oh, no, I'm talking Manning luck first round of the playoffs. 6 seed and 3 seed.
Yeah. What I heard in the background in the little of the game that was on, in the first half, even Eisen and the NFL Network crew were referring to several dubious calls against Jacksonville. I didn't see any of them, so I can't comment. But when the people who work for the league, essentially, are making reference to it at halftime, that's... got to be pretty flagrant.
Well, Tennessee should have beat them. Like, Indy should be 5-4, not 6-3. I'm sorry. It sounds like sour grapes, but that was a fucking fumble.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll take that to my grave.
Yeah. Though, I mean, this doesn't get away from the fact that Luck is really, really good.
Well, he is. But I don't know how Carolina's going to stop Denver.
No, and this came up last week a bit too. The defense isn't great, but I don't think the defense in Denver is terrible either.
No, it's average, and they have a good pass rush.
Average, and if they get one good bounce, they're a good enough defense to carry that through, you know?
Yeah. And they're Carolina, I don't know, they won last week, but they're still not that good of a team.
No.
So
no, and plus this is a vengeance game for Fox.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I'd like to see what he'd do with Cam Newton. Well, they'd be pounding the ball.
He's proven himself to be a lot more flexible than I thought he was capable of as a head coach.
Well, he was just coaching what he had in talent.
Yep, which I really like in a coach.
Yeah.
You don't force your mental greatness onto a team, which I think is part of what Garrett is trying to do in Dallas. You look at the athletes you have, and you structure a system that shows them to their best advantage.
But that's what these coaches, they lose sight of them. They all have to be geniuses. And don't get me wrong, to get to where they get, your ego has to be huge. Because there's about 1 million other guys who would give their left nut to have that job. So you have to have supreme confidence in everything you're doing. But when it doesn't work, like they start to outthink the room. Like, just go with what you have there. Like, Dallas has so much talent. If you put Jeff Fisher in Dallas, they'd win the East.
Yeah.
And that's just looking at what he's done in St. Louis with no talent.
Well, and that's why I think Fox isn't getting the credit. Like, I thought he was just a conservative coach who would never change that. But forced into the Tebow experiment, he changed the offense. Now he's got Peyton Manning. That offense is utterly different. I'm gaining respect for him every day.
And you know what? Denver gets out to a lead, 7-10 points. That defense in Denver is built almost like Indy's.
Well, that's what I meant about they get one good bounce, they get a lead. That defense seems to really rally. You know, they play better. They get more enthused about the game as it goes on. I think there's some real pride there.
Yeah.
So that one's definitely in the mix.
Okay.
4.5 is a little more
it's Carolina
than I'd like, but
like, this is probably the second best team in the AFC right now.
Well,
would you put if you Denver and New England on a neutral field, who wins?
Well, you're forgetting Houston.
No, I said they're second best.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you're saying they're better than New England.
Right now, yes.
Yeah?
I can't say at the end of the year they'll be better, but right now they're playing better than New England.
They're comparable. So that one's definitely in the mix.
Yes.
Our next game, Detroit is favored by 2.5 going into Minnesota.
Stay away.
Absolutely stay away.
We don't bet Detroit,
that's our new
Seattle.
role in Detroit. But Minnesota's utterly reeling. Detroit really hasn't. Their most impressive game was, in my mind, was their loss to San Francisco.
Well, they looked pretty good last week, though. But that was
Jacksonville?
They beat Detroit. I'm just saying. They looked good. They ran the ball. That LaSure is finally coming. I loved him coming out of college. I'm a Big Ten fan, so I watched him play a lot at Illinois. And this is what I thought he would be when they drafted him. Now, whether they continue to use him like they did last week, who the hell knows? If Calvin Johnson keeps getting tackled at the 1, he gets some points. but that's who he was coming out of college.
Well, yeah, and they needed that. Now they need, a speed back to play with him, because I think Best would be foolish to come back to football. Cash your insurance policy.
Well, I don't.
And
Yeah,
keep your brain cells jumping.
but you don't need a speed back.
I like having that package available.
For what? But you don't. If you can get 3.5 to 4 yards a carry with a guy that big and punishes that defensive line, slows your pass rush down, you beat the snot out of the other defensive line for 3.5 quarters, and you can finish out games with a guy. That's the guys you finish off games with.
Kind of a Cedric Benson type.
Bus, like Bettis.
Yeah.
If LaShore gets in the open field, he's not going to go for 80, but he's going to go for 40.
Well, this is only LaShore's second year. In the first 5 years of the bus, he actually was busting those huge runs.
But he's not an 80-yard guy.
No, but I saw lots of 40, 45 yards.
But that's
where
what I
he
just
went
said.
for his safety at the end.
Yeah, LaShore can go for 40. He's not going to bust it like Chris Johnson, but I don't need Chris Johnson.
No.
I need a guy that can get me 4 yards a crack when the game's on the line. And playing in that division, if Stafford gets going, Minnesota or Detroit will probably make the playoffs.
I have some real questions about Stafford, and I said this in his rookie campaign before he was hurt. He throws high a lot, and now how many years later, he still hasn't fixed it. He is sailing that ball over people's heads, and he's honestly lucky that he doesn't have twice the number of picks that he does.
Yeah, Johnson made up for a lot of those mistakes.
Yeah, he made up for a lot, and also just the fact that the safety is always covering over top on Johnson, so he goes to the next guy, sails it over his head. Then, there's no safety back there because he's just on top of Johnson.
Yeah, so the guys aren't getting killed.
Yeah, well, the safety just isn't playing center field. You can't with Calvin Johnson on the field, right? So I have real questions about Stafford.
Well, I do too, but if he gets rolling, and he played really well last year. You don't throw for over 5,000 yards.
I don't take that away from him.
No, I know you're not. I'm just saying.
It's one tendency I've seen his entire career.
If he gets going, they could make the playoffs, because the NFC isn't that stacked as much as we want to think.
The best teams are certainly there.
Yes, but the depth isn't there.
No.
Like there's 3 teams in the NFC and 3 teams in the AFC that I think have legitimate shots at Super Bowl.
So AFC is New England, Houston, Denver.
Yeah.
And NFC would be Atlanta, Green Bay, and Chicago?
No, I was thinking Green Bay and San Francisco. I don't think Chicago has a shot. They're going to get into a game where their offense has to do something against defense.
Defense's scoring points will always regress to the mean.
Well, they're not going to get 2 touchdowns against good teams that protect the ball.
Yeah, though I'm pretty impressed with Chicago.
Yeah, but they don't have.
So who was your third team? The Giants?
No. Atlanta, San Francisco, and Green Bay.
San Francisco. I forgot all about them.
That was my 3 right now that
reasonable.
I would think. And
San Francisco's,
I would put them first right now.
Yeah, San Francisco.
Then Green Bay, then Atlanta, even though Atlanta's 9-0.
Yeah,
I think both of those teams.
3, though. I think
Chicago
that could change if Chicago beats Green Bay in the rematch. I'm not certain which of those two I prefer.
No, but I just think Chicago or Green Bay or San Francisco would beat Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. I don't disagree. Though I'm trying hard to give them more respect because they've just been killing me in the pool.
Well, no, I'll pick them to win in the regular season. If they prove me wrong in the playoffs, I'll give them all the credit in the world. I just think with San Fran's defense and their ability to run the ball.
Yeah. And the monkey on the back, and don't tell me that doesn't matter. You know when Atlanta goes into the playoffs, the sphincters are going to get tight enough to form diamonds.
Well, you have to prove it. So,
Yep.
And I wouldn't be disappointed if they did. I'm just saying, from what I see now, I just think like teams like San Francisco, sometimes when you're coming up, it takes a year. They were in the NFC Championship game. They know what it takes to get there and to be that close. So I just think San Francisco's the team to beat.
They're the most balanced team in the league.
Even if they have to go to Atlanta for the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
Because I said that last year with them, if they had to go to Green Bay, they'd beat Green Bay.
Yep.
And the Giants just took care of it first.
And again, they proved something in themselves that come from behind with New Orleans. In the case of the Niners, they know they won't give up in a playoff game ever again. Whereas Atlanta has been thrashed so badly in the playoffs, it's
at home and on the road. So who knows what you're going to get? But we should
move on,
march forward.
All right, the next game up is the Giants are 3.5-point favorites going into Cincy. I like this game.
Do you?
I'm not completely sold on it, but I like it quite a bit. Cincy's not a good team.
Yeah, but they're good enough. That's the problem. Like, they were up in the fourth quarter by 4 and against Denver. Like, they're good enough. They're just, I don't know what they're missing. Well, they don't really have a running game to speak of.
No, I can't even name who's carrying the ball for them right now.
Well, they had a white guy carrying it on fourth down. That's never a good sign.
No.
Remember from Hard Knocks, he was a free agent. I can't remember his Leonard or something like that.
Name's familiar, but
Leonard,
I
think.
Yeah, but as you said, who was it? Allstott was the last one, and he was a flash in the pan.
Yeah. So, I don't mind this game. Because the Giants are way better on the road. Weather won't be a factor for them. They're used to playing in crappy weather.
And there's no time, and in the past when Eli has stunk, he usually bounces back. Though it's been 2 weeks now that he's been pretty terrible.
Yeah, mediocre at best. Who'd they beat the week before? Oh, Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. He was
just short field. His numbers were actually terrible. But the defense, it's a lot easier when you start in the 20. Put it that way.
Yes.
Or the opposition's 20. I should clarify. I think everyone knew what I meant, but I still kind of like it.
Okay.
Just because I have virtually no respect for Cincy.
Well, I like the Giants team. The only thing I have pause for is that Cincinnati has just hung around with these teams. You know what I mean? Like,
they didn't hang around with Pittsburgh.
They only lost by a touchdown.
Yeah, but that was that actually meant something.
I know, but
and this is a meaningless out of conference. I think finally Marv Lewis, the Kevlar or Teflon. Pardon?
Lewis.
That's good. I like that.
Lewis.
I think he's finally lost it, and even that penny-pinching organization realizes they have to make a change.
No, they won't. He made the playoffs last year. They just re-upped him at the end of last year. He ain't going nowhere.
Oh, that's right. They'd have to pay his contract. But in any case, I have no respect for Cincy. So let's at least keep it in the mix.
It's in the mix. It's in the mix. I'll give you that. You can argue for it later.
Okay. Our next game up is Oakland. 7.5-point underdogs going to Baltimore.
I don't want to bet this game at all.
I'm in 100% agreement.
Baltimore's too flaky. I think they're the worst 6-2 team I've seen in a long time.
Yeah?
like with any coaching,
I didn't even realize they were 6-2. They feel like a 4-4 team.
with any coaching, Cleveland wins that game.
Yeah.
The coaching's horrible. When it was 14-0, I was like, "Ooh, I look pretty good." I picked Baltimore in the pool.
Yeah, and I went Cleveland.
And I'm like 14-0, looking pretty good. Then it was what, 14-12?
Yeah.
Like what? And it ended up being 25-15, but
yeah, very deceptive 10-point win.
Yes, and that's Baltimore.
Well, yeah, look, as I just said there, when you were going 6-2, they feel like a 4-4 team, maybe a 5-3 team.
They beat Kansas City 9-6.
We all know what Kansas City is. Yeah, this is total stay away. I think I'm probably going to end up going Baltimore in the pool. Just because Oakland, after a humiliating loss, a record-setting loss in many ways, traveling all the way to Maryland. I mean, that's kitty corner of the country, for God's sake. Well, not kitty corner, but that's a brutal trip. And Carson Palmer is still Carson Palmer.
But he looked so good for like 3.5 quarters of that game for the most part. And then that last, when we got a chance to win, defense got the ball back.
Did you not hear me? Carson Palmer is Carson Palmer.
I know, but I I don't mind Carson Palmer. I think he blew his knee out and that was it.
Yeah.
And he was good.
Oh, he was. Yeah, you're right. He never came back from that Pittsburgh.
That form.
Who was it? Olin?
No, it was that. Oh, it was like
he had a German name.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the playoff game against Pittsburgh, it was like the third play from scrimmage or something.
Van Olhoffen.
Yeah, okay. I'd call that pretty German.
Nah, not close enough for me. It's not Schultz or anything.
Oh, fair enough. But yeah, I'm staying away. I've told you my tendency. And Oakland overall isn't very good.
But see, Baltimore, they could win by 24 at home, or it could be last second field goal. They win by 2 points.
Yep.
In the game, and that's how they've been all year.
Yeah, I don't trust them. I'm like,
and if I'm not mistaken, this could be a trap game for them. I think they have Pittsburgh the next week. Two out of the next 4 weeks they're playing Pittsburgh.
You're making a good argument for a pool spread. I'm still not going to bet it.
Just let me see here. Where am I looking? Yeah, Baltimore and Pittsburgh, week 11. Isn't Pittsburgh lucky? They get to play Monday night and then Sunday night against Baltimore. And then the next week, Pittsburgh, Cleveland. So week 11, week 13, we have Pittsburgh and Baltimore. So this could be a trap game for the mighty Ravens. So think about that.
That's a really good point. If I had a little more respect for Oakland. Oh, by the way, I just want to bring up one thing from that Oakland-Tampa Bay. So, what's his name? Schiano, coach of the Bucks?
Yeah, Greg Schiano.
Yeah, and, got into the controversy with going at the knees of the Giants players in the victory formation and says he doesn't support it. So your rookie running back's having a record-setting day. Just because of that, you're going to make him run for negative 14 yards in the last 3 plays because you refused to take a knee? What a dick.
Is that what happened?
Yes.
Oh, that's... What a clown.
It's like he's got the Bucks playing okay, but that is just a fucking dickwad thing to do.
Well, what do they think you're going to do? And what benefit is that?
It's no benefit except to make his point that he doesn't believe in the victory formation.
You know what, though? You're going to end up having the fucking Pisarchuk, Herm Edwards fumble recovery, Giants-Eagles in one of those fucking games.
I'd like to see it happen too.
Me too. That's the first thing that popped into my head when you said that. I'm like, what? I know they were up 10, but
Shelly and I were watching, and I'm going, "Oh, look at this!" And that's the only explanation, obviously. But a new level of coach douchebaggery.
okay, let's move on.
Okay, sorry, I did want to bring.
Oh
that
no,
up,
no! We got to keep rolling here.
Okay, next game up, San Diego, 3-point dogs going to Tampa Bay. Bet Tampa Bay, people.
That's what I was going to say. Flying across country, San Diego has never done well. As long as I've known you, they've never done well going east.
No, there was one year way back, but yeah, that was a long time ago. I think Tampa Bay, that offense is clicking right now. San Diego's defense is terrible, particularly if you come at them in a hurry-up or no-huddle situation. They are utterly helpless to stop people with any sort of pace in the game.
Did you see that Doug Martin's nickname?
Oh, the muscle hamster. Yeah.
I love it. He hates it. I know. Awesome.
As Pro Football Talk said, now that you said you hate it, you know it's yours for the rest of your life. They actually brought it up in the game, and I was killing myself laughing.
I love it. We don't have enough good nicknames anymore for people.
Oh, and that one's fresh and new.
And I get why he doesn't like it, because it means he's short. And anybody that's short hates getting told they're short.
It's not a derogatory nickname in any way.
No, it wasn't meant like that, but that's.
And when he says he hates it, I bet he had a half smile, like just going, "Yeah, you can't choose your nicknames, you know."
And you know what? I bet you he had hamsters in his locker the next day.
Oh yeah, that was his birthday gift from the rest of the college squad. He got 37 hamsters in wheels. It's a great nickname, and that guy is so strong.
Well, and this is why they'll keep drafting running backs and put no priority on them in the draft. Is there's always two of him that come out every year.
Yeah, and they did overuse him a bit in that Raiders game, but
yeah, but if it's working, why would you?
Well, it was the fumble when they tried to pull him out.
Yeah.
LeGarrette Blount fumbled the exchange, and that's what got the Raiders back in the game. So
okay, yeah, I didn't see any of that game.
I watched quite a bit of it. Yeah, so it was a fumble. They did try to pull him, which I give credit for, but Blount, who's always been a fumble hazard, yeah, showed up with another one. His career's pretty much over.
Yeah.
But bet Tampa, bet Tampa, bet Tampa. 3 points is a gift from above.
I agree.
I think they should be 6.5, realistically.
Yeah, if Tampa was more consistent, it probably would be.
Though they're coming on. I've been, for whatever reason, watching a few Tampa games recently, and they're kind of fun to watch on offense.
But just keep this in the back of your head. They traded one suspended corner, the other one suspended, and their starting safety got suspended. So,
yeah, whatever. That just means Rivers will make the careers of a few new secondary players.
I'm just saying, cautionary tale.
Yeah, maybe.
It's the reason Carson Palmer threw for 409 yards against him.
If it wasn't for our rules, I'd be jumping all over Tampa in this.
Well,
game.
We can break the rule. We did it.
Yeah, and it didn't turn out well for us. So we decided we'd never breaking that rule.
A reverse jinx. You get a shot at it if you want it. I won't you back.
Still pass. The next game is also banned.
What? No.
Tennessee is 6-point underdogs going to Miami.
Okay, so can we bet like Miami's point total over? Just Miami's.
No.
I just want to see what it is.
It's 44 is the over-under.
Yeah, I know. I want to see what the total is. Just for Miami.
Oh, okay. I see. Just the side. Okay.
Yeah. It's going to keep talking. Just give me.
You're welcome. You're welcome to bet that in your own. I'm not getting involved in that action, but
Why not?
because Miami. I mean, that Reggie Bush touchdown move. Haven't seen that since LaDainian. That jump cut to the side. We were on the phone when it happened. We were just like both going, "Oh my god!"
That was pretty special.
It was so good. It's why we watch football sometimes.
That's why I watch football all the time.
Yeah, really. You don't see it very often though, and it is more fun when you catch it live.
Okay, Miami's over is 25.5.
So you're giving up 34 points a game thus far per game.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm not taking that action here.
No, I know you're. I know we're not. I just had to bring that up.
Pool wise, I'm probably Miami.
Yeah, me too. And then
it's home, and that defense is legitimately good.
Yeah, and just hope like hell that Tennessee wins.
And your O-line in Tennessee right now is a wee bit brutal.
Yeah, I should quit hoping for them to win. I just can't cheer for them to lose because
that's exactly where I've been.
Losing makes more sense right now. We need a top 5 pick.
Well, you heard me last year. I wanted the Chargers to lose because I thought it would mean regime change. But I didn't even get that out of, being happy about a 6-game losing streak because I thought that must kill Rasputin.
Well, I was... Now, Bud Adams, as crazy as he is, said the whole organization is being put on watch. From this point forward, they're being evaluated. So I'm thinking Munchak's go. Well, the D coordinator has to go. I thought we couldn't get any worse than Chuck Cecil. This is 10 times worse. It just looks like there's not Michael.
Well, they tried in the first half, and the offense gave it up. In the first half, I mean, later on, it got gruesome.
No, but Mike Griffin looks like he would rather be anywhere other than Tennessee, and they just re-upped him for like $9 million a year, or something ridiculous like that. And that was in the off season, and he played okay last year. This year, I have no clue what the hell is going on with him. But I almost posted this on our website. Remember when Bud Adams gave the finger to the Buffalo fans from the skybox?
Yeah.
Well, there was video online now where he did it on the sidelines. He was standing near the end zone on the Titan sideline. Some guy's filming him. It was too long to put on the website. But it was like a 6 or 8 minute video. And he gives it he points his fingers towards the crowd, his middle fingers, and then throws him over. Like, how who the hell did it in wrestling? Somebody do like a point.
I never watched wrestling.
Oh, Hogan would point at the crowd and put it up to his ear. Well, he pointed at the crowd with his middle fingers and then swung him over towards the Bills' sideline like twice. It was hilarious.
At least he's entertaining.
Yeah. And he's
Dementia is so funny.
He's 89, and he wants to win something before he's in the casket. So they're not going...
Unless he's remarkably long-lived, I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, here's the thing. In the NFL, things happen fast. We see it all the time. Like Atlanta. Fuck, where were they 3 years ago?
Yeah, but their lines are good. And that's where it's... Like, you can't just change lines.
No, but with free agency and everything now, you can make a big swing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Tennessee's primed for a Super Bowl run next year, but goofier things have happened.
True enough, but we should keep rolling.
Yeah.
All right, the next game, the Jets, 6.5-point dogs going to Seattle.
If this was like 4, I would say let's just ram this sucker.
I don't mind it even at 6.5. Seattle's defense, against a poor O-line at home.
Yeah.
Seattle, I mean, yeah, they struggle against the top teams. But when that O-line is weak, those edge rushers are ridiculous.
When Sanchez should be good for a couple of picks, and they have no run game.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep this one in the mix, because, yeah.
Sorry, that's my whole argument. Against a very weak O-line, Seattle has been feasting on the edge rush. And that's where the Jets' O-line gets killed.
And
is speed rushers just coming around the corner and burying Sanchez.
And Sanchez isn't very mobile.
Mm-mm.
And Marshawn Lynch should go for about $1.50.
Yeah, I'd love it at 4, but I still like it at a touchdown.
Okay.
And that's the biggest home field advantage in the league.
Yes.
And Sanchez struggles with that, too. Communication, panicky. I love the way this sets up for Seattle.
Antonio Cromartie guaranteed the Jets would make the playoffs.
Okay, and name your 9th child.
Oh.
Cheap shot, sorry.
Yeah, well...
No, I think that should be in the mix. It's a little high, but it's under a touchdown.
In that vein, I just have to say something, and I know you haven't watched it, but Broke. They were showing all the different things about how the athletes spend their money, and they had one section called Baby Mamas. And they were interviewing Travis Henry. Somebody, I don't know what program they pulled this interview from, but he's like...
He was a Bronco, right?
Yeah, well, Titan, Bronco...
Okay,
Bip.
yeah.
And he's like... The interviewer goes, so how many kids do you have? 9. By how many different women? 9. And I know I'll never know what it's like to have that temptation around you. Yeah. But it's like you'd think after 4 or 3, it would sink in when you're sending half your check to child support. And you have to take care of your kids. I'm not saying that. But when you're sending half your pay for child support, wouldn't something click in?
Yeah, I mean, vasectomies are mostly reversible, as I understand it. So,
yeah, well,
until you find the right gal,
a condom.
Maybe you shouldn't have to worry if the lady pulls the goalie.
And a condom doesn't require surgery.
Yeah. Okay, moving on that.
And that segment was sponsored by Planned Parenthood of Canada. No.
Okay. Next game, Dallas. 1.5-point favorites going to Philadelphia. Stay away. These teams are insane.
It's 2 now.
Oh, is it 2 now?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I only printed this at 9:30. I just say stay away. The teams are insane.
Yeah. And
you don't know what you're going to have from either of them.
If this holds true to form, Dallas will be behind late, close, and screw something up with a chance to win the game.
Yeah, they'll probably pull within 3, but, and Philly's bad enough, maybe Dallas wins it. I just stay away from this game.
Or Dallas will be down 2, and the guy will miss a field goal from 35 yards.
Ooh, that's a new wrinkle.
Something. Or Garrett won't call a timeout, and they should have got another 10 yards. It'll be a 48-yarder instead of a 38-yarder. Something's going to happen.
And watching the last Philly game, they're barely even trying anymore.
Well, okay, how is New Orleans defense just hammering LaShawn McCoy behind the line of scrimmage?
Well, and
Vic was
they did that sometimes, but the running game was working, and they still called 70% passes when Vic looks confused, frightened, and wildly inaccurate. I mean...
Has Philly... Now, I didn't see a lot of that game, but does Philly still use the screen pass like they used to?
They tried it a lot, but I think they've become predictable enough. Like, they were using bubble screens and stuff, and New Orleans was sitting there waiting for it. I think they've become an incredibly predictable unit, much like the Chargers.
Yeah, but is that okay? But is that more based on Michael Vick, that they're not scared of him beating them throwing, that they don't have to back off? Like if you had a balanced attack where a quarterback scared you if you played man,
I don't think it's Vick. I honestly think it's like they're in the huddle.
It's Vic. It's Vic.
You could be right. It still feels to me like they're in the huddle. They know whatever is going to happen.
Yeah, but you can take
chances. And they sell out on their predictions because I do think Philly has become...
Yeah, but it's not predictable when you're not scared of the guy beating you, passing the ball.
Yeah. I mean, you could be right. It just seems disinterested. Everyone there is just playing out the string. And Nnamdi Ashomoga is...
And, like,
how did a guy go from being that good to an average starter who can get beat on a simple fly?
Well, yeah, but it looks like he's the example. Simmons used it in basketball, but you can use it in any sport. He was the best guy on a crappy team. So when you have he may have been above average in Oakland, but
yeah.
when you have a guy on the other side that you can pick apart, who cares?
Yeah, no,
look better.
That's pretty much inarguable, and I think that's proving out now.
And the other thing I will say, and I don't watch Philly games really. The other thing I'll say is scheme. It could just be a bad scheme. They had an O-line coach running the defense for a year and a half and switch coordinators on a bye week.
Yeah, I'm not even that down on the defense. That O-line, though Vic is holding the ball a full 2 seconds too long. It's like, I don't know what he's afraid of, picks or whatever, but he looks around, he's getting enough time that a good quarterback would have the ball out somewhere. He's holding the ball like a full 2 seconds too long, and then he's just getting hammered.
I don't get why he'd be scared now. He looked good, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
When he got paid? He played really well, and then he got paid, and he's went back to like his early Atlanta days now. And yeah. I don't know if that's scheme or because the receivers are Base Macklin and
they're good. There's a lot of talent on that team.
Selleck's out now for the year, I think, but he's a decent tight end. They got McCoy running. Could just be the line.
I think the line's a big part, though. I'm giving them something of a pass from what I watched of that game because if there's nothing, fine, roll, throw it away. But he's just standing there. It's like he can't pull the trigger.
When they
he's got some sort of thing that he's so afraid right now of screwing up that he's not willing to try anything.
But when they get around the 30, it's like they bog down. It's like, I don't know what happens to the play calling or what. But from what I watched that game, they'd get down near the red zone and just looked like they had no clue.
Well, as soon as he threw that brutal pick for the 99-yard return, he just... I think he's too men. Like, he's not letting it flow.
That could well be.
And I almost feel bad for him. I mean, dog killing aside, he seemed to have made a legitimate attempt to turn his life around.
No, he did in every way, shape, and form. It's just he is what he is.
Yeah.
After this long, you can't keep telling me he's going to turn into something he was never meant to be.
He has splashes of some of the most amazing, exciting things I've ever seen, and...
Yeah, so did Vince Young.
Yeah, well, and he's not even in the same conversation as Vic.
No. But I'm just saying, I think we might be having this conversation with Christian Ponder, Cam Newton, RG3.
Cam Newton's certainly looking to go down the same path right now. I think RG3 is too smart, but anyway.
So is Cam Newton.
Cam Newton's a heady guy too, yeah.
But it's just I don't know why. I would love to see it work.
Oh, I know. It just seems like when things go wrong for these guys, they spiral.
And I'm not saying like guys like Blaine Gabbert that stand in the pocket. He's awful too. But I just need somebody, please, prove to me that this works long term. It never has. Outside of Steve Young, it's never worked.
Well, once again, sophomore year is a hard year, so I'm not giving up on either Cam, and I'm not giving up on RG3.
But Randall Cunningham's about the most success.
Randall. Anyway, we should move on.
Shot for that, anyway. Okay.
St. Louis, 11.5-point dogs, going to San Francisco. Your pick is best team in the NFC.
I think St. Louis might give them a little bit of trouble.
11.5 I think is way too much.
San Francisco's going to win the game. Don't get me wrong. But teams that have given San Francisco trouble this year could run the ball. And I think Steven Jackson could run the ball.
Well, and Trent Richardson, I believe, is his backup. He's turned into a nice little player.
Not Richardson, that's the Cleveland back.
Oh, yeah, sorry. What's his name?
I haven't watched St.
Fuck, I own him on a fantasy team. It's one of the few bright lights, and I can't remember his name. But no, I know what you mean. And San Francisco, yeah, I mean, they can win by 20 points, but they're not designed to do that.
No.
10 points is just fine with them, and they will just choke the life out of you. You know, they're quiet, cold, efficient murderers. I don't like laying 11.5 on San Francisco at all.
It is a Richardson. Daryl.
Okay. Well, luckily I'm not completely stupid, but that's still pretty embarrassing.
He's running for over 5 yards a carry.
He's a nice little player, actually, and he's getting more and more in the mix because Jackson has been this non-complaining, all-suffering workhorse. I mean, I love the way he approaches his profession. I'm not saying anything bad, but I don't think there's much tread on those tires.
See, I don't know why St. Louis didn't trade him. There were teams phoning. And you said about Chris Johnson getting traded?
Mm-hmm.
And I agreed with you that they should trade him. I just was arguing that they wouldn't. It wouldn't happen.
Yeah. Just
because of how the NFL works, and that's just how the NFL works. They won't trade. So, but I'm leaning right now to San Francisco to win, St. Louis to cover.
Yeah, and I might go Niners, but, you know, Fisher does have those Rams playing every play, playing every whistle.
Yeah.
That team is at least focused. They're not particularly talented. There are a lot of problems, a lot of holes. But they play hard every week.
And that's
with the exception of being in London, England, which shouldn't count.
And that's where Fisher, that's why he was the perfect coach to go there.
Yeah.
Because he gets the most out of almost everybody. And he'll have games like that, whereas teams like Tennessee did when they lost 59-0 in New England and then went 8-2 the rest of the way.
Yep.
So, but let's carry on. We've only got a couple left.
All right, Houston. 1.5-point underdogs going to Chicago. It's a stay away, but I kind of look forward to watching it.
I like Houston in this game.
Do you?
Yeah. I do. They'll be able to. Nobody's been able to stop Boston running the ball. I don't think Chicago does. I don't think Houston will turn the ball over as much. This is where Houston puts their stamp on the AFC as the favorites in the AFC. This is the game.
I do not want to bet it.
No, I don't want to bet it either.
Okay.
But
this one,
Chicago's defense is good. Their offense has to win them a game at some point.
Yeah, but Houston failed, in my estimation, in putting up points against teams like the Jets and Buffalo. I mean, yeah, they did enough, but I am not convinced that Houston's O is that good. And I don't think they've faced any team that has a defense like Chicago.
Okay. Let's just say this. How many sacks is J.J. Watt going to have? 5? They're all...
Well, okay, we'll call the 5 over-under between batted balls and sacks.
The O-line in Chicago...
And Phillips just came out, Wade, and just said, what's our plan? Well, we're double covering Brandon Marshall.
Yeah, they said that's the only guy that...
On every single play. He's their entire offense.
Yes. And their offensive line is brutal in Chicago.
Yeah.
Brutal. They might have won 51-20. I don't know how many sacks Tennessee had. Cutler was getting hit in that game.
Yep.
Their offensive line is horrible.
Well, and again, your defense actually played a half and somehow found themselves on a brutal deficit at the end.
It was 28-2 at the end of the first quarter. No fault of the defense. So
yeah. No, I think you're right on Houston, but I certainly don't want to bet it.
No, I don't want to bet it, but I think this is where they put
anytime I can get Houston and points, not such a bad thing.
No.
But I do worry about their offense. I mean, this will answer some questions for me. How does Houston's O play against a top-tier D?
Well, I want to see how Chicago's D plays against a very competent O.
Yeah, an O that can run the ball and throw it with some proficiency.
Their play-action pass in Houston is the best in football right now.
Well, that's what happens when you have one of the best running games in football.
No, I know, but they run the ball.
Oh, I know. No,
play-action pass.
I'm agreeing with you. It may have sounded derisive, but...
No, I know, but all these other teams have no threat of that. You don't even have to play the play-action fake against most teams. They throw the ball 50 times a game. Everybody.
Yep.
So when I look at Houston, they're built to win in any type of game and weather for late in the year. They can win ugly by running the ball and scoring 17 points, or they'll put up 30. And they're doing a lot of these Milton Berle games, just letting out enough to win. Thanks, Bill Simmons. But
fuck. I hadn't heard that one before. That's brilliant.
That was Simmons.
Billy.
But that's what they're doing. And I know Green Bay killed them. You're going to have games like that once in a while. They're the cream of the crop in the AFC.
Oh, and that was a Thursday night game, Chicago-Green Bay. As I've said before, and I will reiterate,
yes, but Chicago...
do not read fucking anything into a Thursday night game.
No, Green Bay against Houston.
I thought you meant Green Bay against Chicago.
No, Green Bay against Houston. But Chicago's offense has done literally nothing this year. Cutler's got 12 TD passes and 8 picks.
Yeah.
So...
I think you're right on the Houston. Still don't want to bet it.
No, I'm not trying to convince you to bet it. But if you're playing in the pool, or you're looking for an underdog to bet, Houston. They're Chicago, like you were saying, regress to the mean with the turnovers.
Yeah.
Chicago's not going to get. The defense has scored more touchdowns than they've allowed.
Yeah.
That's not going to continue.
That is unsustainable.
And Charles Tillman is a fucking beast.
And Tillman may not even be playing. I suspect he will. This is just hype, but...
Just Mayock said?
No, it's birth of his wife. He just said if she goes into labor, I'm not playing.
Mayock was trying to give intercourse advice to pro athletes.
Has Mayock ever had intercourse with a human species?
No, it's not Mayock. Sorry, Florio.
Oh, okay.
From Pro Football Talk.
Oh,
and there's certain times of the years, when you can mess around and it won't affect your foot.
Really?
Yeah. I linked it on our site. It's hilarious. It's absolutely fucking hilarious. If you want to listen
I'm particularly fond of any male jumping into the fuck off. Just Jesus Christ.
You're
Anyway.
going to control that. I know they're pro athletes and the coaches and everybody wants to control everything they do. But, it happens. Get over it. Every other job in the world you can leave by law, federal law, they could take maternity.
Well, yeah, I mean,
But they don't.
I think of my dad who dropped my mom off at the hospital and went to a Riders game. And I admire him for that. But it's the person's fucking decision. I am not going to say, ooh, you did the right thing or you did the wrong thing, because it's not my fucking life. It's not my wife and it's not my baby.
But when an analyst
Just shut up then. Sorry.
went to have sex with your wife, just shut the fuck up, okay?
Again, not my life, not
But
my wife, not my baby. It's none of my fucking business. How's that?
Didn't even bring it up. Except
Yeah.
it was so fucking stupid.
All right, and that brings us into our last game.
No, you gotta say this one thing. I could give two shits about what happens in movie stars' lives, athletes' lives, pop stars' lives. Tell me what they sing. If some guy was getting a blowjob and he missed his gig on stage, then I might want to hear about it. But if he's doing it on his own time, I don't give a fuck. Quit reporting it. Did it hurt him in the game? Nope. Don't need to know. Thanks.
Well, yeah, I mean, to the point where it affects their profession, it's legitimate.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
And missing it, no, on the other hand, I still think that's a personal decision by the athlete. If Tillman says, I'm going to be there for the birth of my child, you know what, Charles? That is your fucking decision, and I am not going to second guess you.
Me either. But my rant is against these talking heads that have nothing better to fucking talk about.
Like, people eat it up, man. You're a big one. It just says people want to know.
No, they don't. Do I want to know when?
You don't want to know. But bizarrely, this shit like TMQ and all of this, it exists because there's a market for it. And I think the market is contemptible, but unfortunately, it is the market.
Marlon, I have cut so much shit out of football reading now that is so irrelevant. It's sickening.
No, it's not sickening. You're making the right decision. I want to talk about what these pro athletes who I admire and are often amazing athletes, I want to talk about what they do on the field.
Yeah, I could give two shits what they do anywhere else. But that's my little sidebar rant for this week, because Florio's a fucking idiot.
That was a joke. I'm going to have to look that up. It's on our website. Sorry. If you link to Pro Football Talk, which I read almost every day, I can't believe I missed that.
Yeah, he's a quack.
That's a goddamn farce.
Yeah.
All right. Last game of the week, the Monday Nighter. The leadless Kansas City Chiefs.
Watch, they'll
12.5-point dogs at Pittsburgh. That's why I'm just staying away.
No, they'll end up leading this game. They'll kick a field goal. They'll win the coin toss and kick a field goal for their first lead and then get beat 35.
Well, they did actually in overtime, beat New Orleans.
Yes, but they've never led. That was the last play of the game. They've never led in any meaningful way.
They are so utterly brutal that Phillip Rivers attempted 2 passes in the second half of last week's Thursday Nighter.
Unbelievable.
Just, wow.
They could start calling Quinn at quarterback and still be good. Kansas City, you would notice a difference.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they might as well. I mean, Dexter McCluster, he's a multi-talented athlete. Just put him behind center.
Well, they tried doing that last week, didn't they? They were running the Wildcat. Oh, it's just gross.
Everything about it. I mean, I'm taking Pittsburgh both ways. Do you want this in the mix or no?
No.
Neither do I, because I'm still not a huge believer in Pittsburgh.
It's just...
But as Bill Simmons, boy, he's getting a lot of fucking love tonight. But as he pointed out, I feel like I have not maximized my betting against Romeo Crennel window.
Well, yeah, he made a big stink about that last year. He's hoping that they'd rehire him so he could bet against him all year.
Yeah.
But I just...
I can't take 12.5 with a Pittsburgh team that I'm not in love with.
And
I'm taking them in the pool. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no way I'm taking Kansas City to cover a spread until we're getting into the 4 touchdown range.
This is another game where Pittsburgh might just do enough to win.
And as you said in the Baltimore reference, that this is potentially a trap.
Well, they're not going to lose, but...
Yeah, but are they looking ahead to the Baltimore game next week?
And if it gets out of hand, guys will be sitting in the second half and allow Kansas City to get within that 12 points.
Yeah, this is a double trap, but I'm pretty confident in Pittsburgh. Kansas City is one of the worst football teams I've ever seen, and god damn, I wish we got to play them another 6 times. Only twice.
Okay.
We have 4 teams. 4 games that we thought were in the mix.
Okay, so now
we have Atlanta, Denver, the Giants, and the Jets.
So which let's do the parlay first.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's go Giants and Atlanta.
Okay.
Those are the 2 I'm probably least confident in. I mean, I know you weren't thrilled about the Jets Seattle. I like it a lot. I mean, you can...
Ooh, the price changed in the Giants game. Fuck, it's minus 125. Yikes. Oh, well. So we have Atlanta to beat New Orleans, minus 2.5. We have the Giants to
you bet them... Oh, okay, minus 2.5.
Yeah. And we have the Giants to beat Cincinnati, minus 3.5. $10 bet pays $33.65. Book it, Dano?
Book it.
Okay. Then we are going with Denver.
Yeah, at minus 4.5.
Yes, to beat Carolina in Carolina. Taking Denver twice on the road. $10 bet pays $18.70. Then we have Seattle.
To cover a meaty 6.5 point spread.
Yes. But I like that.
I still like it.
Yes.
I think I made a good argument on that one.
You made a very good, strong, and compelling argument on that one. So we have Seattle minus 6.5 to beat the Mark Sanchez-led Jets. Snicker. $10 bet pays $19.09. Done.
All right, we should wrap it. We ran a little long this week.
Yeah, so if you want to check out the podcast, you can listen to it on iTunes. Just search Offensive Lines, or go to our website, offensivelines.ca. Follow us on Twitter for any updates to the website or new podcasts at Offensive Lines. Check us out on Facebook.com/Offensive Lines. And if you want to get in touch with Marlon or myself, you can email us at offensivelines@shaw.ca. I'm Boyd.
I'm Marlon. Congrats, Obama. Now in your second term, do something meaningful. I'm out.